What if your single night of sleep held the key to predicting diseases years away? AI is finally decoding the complex language of your deep rest. Welcome to our podcast, Artificial Intelligence, Papers and Concepts curated by Dr. Satya Malik.
Before we dive in, we should probably mention that both of us, your expert guides today, are AI-generated voices.
We are. It's pretty fitting considering our topic today. The mission for this deep dive is to explore something called SleepFM. It's a massive, and I mean massive, multimodal sleep foundation model.
Okay.
We're unpacking a recent paper that uses polysomnography or PSG data to accurately predict the future onset of up to 130 different health conditions. For you, the listener.
Wow. That sounds absolutely groundbreaking. I mean, we all know sleep is fundamental, right?
Right.
It's this biological process that impacts, well, everything. Your psychiatric health, neurodegenerative diseases like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, even cardiovascular events. Exactly. But clinically, that relationship has been just incredibly messy and difficult to study at scale. And that's really the core challenge here. The gold standard for measuring sleep, this polysomnography, it captures incredibly rich physiological data.
You're talking about brain signals, heart rate, muscle movement.
All of it. But existing AI models just haven't been able to leverage that richness properly. They've been limited because they rely on these small, supervised data sets.
Small. What are we talking about here?
Well, maybe 2,500 up to around 15,000 recordings.
And 15,000 sounds like a lot until you think about the sheer variability of human sleep.
Exactly.
Different ages, different health conditions, and different hospitals. We're all using slightly different equipment.
Precisely. That lack of scale and the diversity of recording environments meant a model trained in one place would often just fail completely when you tried to use it somewhere else.
You might have missing sensors, for instance.
You might have missing sensors, different numbers of channels. This variability just capped the performance and, the generalizability of every approach before this.
So if the problem is data variability and scale, then SleepFM is the solution. It attacks both of those head on.
It does.
Walk us through how they managed to train a single model on what sounds like a really heterogeneous collection of data.
They used a very sophisticated self-supervised contrastive learning approach. But the real architectural breakthrough, the key, is making the model robustly, channel agnostic.
Channel agnostic.
Think of it this way. If you teach a musician to recognize a melody, they should be able to pick it out, whether it's played on a flute, a piano, or a guitar.
Right, sure. The instrument shouldn't matter.
The instrument doesn't matter. In this case, the specific sensor channel doesn't matter. SleepFM recognizes the underlying physiological pattern regardless of what's plugged in.
That's a huge conceptual leap for handling real-world clinical data. And the scale you mentioned, just give us those numbers again. I think they really paint a picture of the foundation model concept.
The model was trained on over 585,000 hours of PSG recordings.
Whoa.
From approximately 65,000 participants. And to put that in perspective, that's somewhere between 5 and 25 times more data than any previously trained sleep or biosignal model.
That's a staggering amount of data.
It's the sheer size, coupled with the diversity from the four main cohorts, Stanford Sleep Clinic, BioSerenity, MESA, and FROS, that allowed it to learn a kind of universal language of human sleep.
Okay, let's unpack this. But first, we need to pause to thank our sponsors. This podcast is sponsored by BigVision.ai, a consulting and product development company that helps companies of all sizes build computer vision and AI solutions. You can reach them at contact@bigvision.ai. Welcome back. So before the break, we were talking about this unprecedented scale over 500,000 hours of recorded sleep.
Right.
And how that massive data set was necessary to create this foundation model. Now, let's get specific. What information does SleepFM actually receive? It's multimodal, you said.
It is. It integrates 4 distinct physiological modalities from a standard PSG study.
Okay, what are they?
First, you have the brain activity signals, or BAS. That includes EEG and EOG, which track brain waves and eye movements.
Got it.
Second is electrocardiography, ECG or EKG for heart rhythm. Third, electromyography, EMG for muscle activity. And finally, the respiratory signals, airflow, blood oxygen, things like that.
So that's 4 totally different kinds of raw data, all flowing in at the same time. How does the architecture unify all of that into something the AI can process?
The first step is standardization. All signals get resampled to 128 hertz. Then they're segmented into 5-second windows.
5-second windows?
Yes, and these little 5-second snippets are the fundamental input tokens for the model.
So you can think of them like individual words that the AI is reading.
Exactly. But instead of words, they're tiny snapshots of your body's activity.
But 5 seconds is a very short snapshot. How does the model build up a context of an entire 8-hour night from that?
That's where the sophisticated architecture comes in. It uses what's called channel-agnostic attention pooling to aggregate information from all the available channels in that 5-second window.
Right.
This aggregated info then feeds into a powerful transformer block. And the transformer is crucial because it captures temporal dependencies.
So it looks at how things change over time.
Precisely. It allows the model to look across a 5-minute context window and see how those 5-second snapshots connect. It can learn the interplay between, say, a drop in blood oxygen and a sudden shift in brainwave activity.
So it's not just recognizing this is stage 3 sleep. It's recognizing how the heart, brain, and breath are all coordinating or failing to coordinate during that stage.
That's a perfect way to put it.
So before we get to the future predictions, they first had to prove the model understood the basics of sleep, right? What were those validation tasks?
They used lightweight fine-tuning on the model's embeddings for standard sleep tasks. For sleep staging, wake, stage 1, 2, 3, and REM, it got really competitive F1 scores.
And what about biological age? I know that's a good indicator of overall health.
They did benchmark that. For age estimation, the model achieved a mean absolute error of about 7.3 years, with a strong correlation of 0.88.
So it's pretty good at guessing your age just from your sleep patterns.
Very good. Though we should note, it showed a bit more error in elderly adults, which suggests the aging process introduces more variability in our sleep signals later in life.
And for a common disorder like sleep apnea?
For sleep apnea classification, specifically separating moderate or severe cases from mild or no apnea, the model hit an impressive accuracy of 0.87.
Okay, so it's solid on the fundamentals.
It confirms that the pre-training really did generate representations that are highly effective for core clinical diagnostics.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. This is the moment this research leaps from just sleep diagnostics into truly predictive medicine.
This is the headline finding.
Using electronic health records, they tasked the model with predicting future disease risk from just that single night of data. And SleepFM accurately predicted 130 future conditions with a C-index of at least 0.75.
That's the one. And let's make sure everyone understands that metric. The C-index, or concordance index, is basically a measure of risk ranking.
Right.
A C-index of 0.75 means if you take 2 patients, one who will get the disease and one who won't, the model correctly identifies the higher risk person 75% of the time.
And these weren't just immediate predictions. They used a 6-year prediction horizon for some of these calculations. A one-night snapshot predicting your health 6 years down the line. That's monumental.
It is. And the scores for the most serious conditions are just staggering.
Okay.
Look at all-cause mortality, a C-index of 0.84.
Wow.
For dementia, the C-index was 0.85, with an AROC, another standard measure, of 0.87.
Hold on. Predicting dementia with that level of accuracy from a non-invasive sleep study, years before symptoms might even show up. I mean, how reliable can a 6-year prediction really be? Doesn't a person's lifestyle change?
That's a crucial question. The power here lies in the fact that the model seems to have learned these latent physiological markers that are deeply rooted. They're less transient than, say, your daily habits.
So it's seeing a systemic decline.
A systemic decline that manifests in the raw sleep signal long before a physical symptom ever appears. It consistently outperformed baselines that included age, sex, and BMI. It's pulling out information humans just couldn't see.
Let's list the major cardiovascular scores.
Yeah.
Those are always linked to sleep quality.
Absolutely. For major cardiovascular events, the C-index was 0.81 for a heart attack and 0.80 for heart failure.
Incredible.
Stroke prediction was also very strong at 0.78. They even found high performance for specific cancers like prostate and breast cancer, both with an AUROC of 0.9, and Parkinson's disease hit an AUROC of 0.93.
It seems like the model is reading these specialized signatures in the data. Did the researchers figure out if different modalities were better at predicting certain diseases?
They did, and the results make a lot of intuitive sense. While combining all 4 modalities gave the best overall performance, the individual signals definitely showed specialization.
Like what?
The brain activity signals, the BAS, were unsurprisingly better at capturing mental and neurological conditions.
Which aligns with what we know about EEG.
Right. The EKG signals were most informative for circulatory diseases, as you'd expect. But here's something counterintuitive. The respiratory signals were great for respiratory and metabolic disorders, sure, but they were also surprisingly effective at predicting senile dementia.
Really? Breathing patterns?
It suggests that things like oxygen saturation or your breathing patterns during sleep are a significant hidden marker for long-term cognitive decline.
That multimodal capability. That's what makes this a true foundation model.
Okay, let's move to the practical side. How do you prove this is better than what we have now?
Yes, and if we connect this to the bigger picture, this is where the paper really solidifies its clinical utility. They compared SleepFM against two baselines.
What were they?
A simple demographics-only, model age, sex, BMI, and then an end-to-end model with the same architecture but without that huge self-supervised pre-training.
And the results of that comparison.
SleepFM just consistently and dramatically outperformed both. We're talking percentage differences in AROC from 5% up to 17%.
So the pre-training really is the secret sauce. It is. It proves that the model learned the complex internal structure of sleep before it was asked to look for specific diseases, and that leads to much more robust and transferable knowledge.
So the pre-training built a robust physiological vocabulary for the model. That efficiency must also translate to data handling, which I know is a huge issue in medicine.
That data efficiency is arguably the most significant practical outcome here. Their analysis showed that SleepFM trained on just 10% of the fine-tuning data,
Just 10%.
often outperformed the demographics baseline that was trained on 5 times more data.
Wow. Think of the cost savings there. The speed of deployment.
Exactly. You need far less labeled specialized data to get high accuracy if you start with a massive pre-trained foundation model like this.
That's transformative for smaller clinics.
Yeah.
And the final test. How did it do on data it had never, ever seen before?
It showed really strong generalization on the Sleep Heart Health Study, or SHHS dataset, which was totally excluded from pre-training. It maintained highly robust predictive accuracy for things like congestive heart failure, an AUROC of 0.85. For cardiovascular disease death, 0.88. The foundation model concept worked exactly as promised.
So what does this all mean for us? SleepFM really demonstrates that these models can learn the complex structure of our sleep from raw data.
It does. It offers a scalable, label-efficient pathway for risk stratification and health monitoring that it was impossible until now.
The potential for proactive intervention is just massive.
Huge. If a clinician can identify a patient who's highly prone to dementia years in advance from a non-invasive study, it fundamentally shifts the entire timeline of preventative medicine.
But there's a catch, isn't there?
There is. The source material highlights that even with these massive gains, interpreting why the model makes these predictions remains a huge challenge. Future work will need to focus on enhancing that case-level interpretability.
So we need to understand why certain sleep patterns drive these specific disease predictions.
Exactly. We need to move from what the model predicts to why it's predicting it. That is the next frontier.
If you're excited about the field of AI and want to apply these concepts in computer vision, we urge you to enroll in opencv.org/university to get started in computer vision and AI.
We really hope this deep dive helped you understand what is most important in this groundbreaking research and how AI is starting to read the story of your future health, hidden in your rest.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. Don't forget to subscribe to ensure you don't miss our next exploration into cutting-edge papers and concepts.